All right, guys, week 12. Here's the corner of my property. Gonna take and set some corner posts, set the rest of our posts, and pull some barbed wire. Temperature dropped like crazy in Florida. It's like 55 and wet out. So as long as it doesn't rain any harder than what it is, I should be able to finish this today. But corner of my property is right there, and you can see the post that I got to get to way down there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull off of this corner right here like 15 feet, and that's where my main post is going to go. And basically I'm going to have like a 45 that cuts across here to where the other post would be. And basically all I'm trying to do is make like a gate at the corner. This way I don't have one like in the middle of the yard to where I could access this back acreage that is pretty much free for people to ride their four-wheelers. So let me get these corner posts set, and I'll show you how to set them to where they hold to where you could attach the barbed wire, and we'll stretch the barbed wire out and stuff. So I'll kick back in a minute. Okay, so here's what I got. I got corner. I didn't really measure, just eyeball. But first post is we're doing a wide post, and we could do a thin post because we're not going too far. Basically, let me get to the other side. Basically, the wide post, the base of it, I'm going to run a cable up to this corner of the post, the top, and it's going to pull down. So the barbed wire is going to try to fight this way, but the cable is going to be pulling it this way. I'm 5 foot, so there will be a center beam from here to here that will run through, and we'll put rebar on it. So here's my spacing right here. I'm going to go ahead to the other end and get that end set up, and then I'll come over here, drill my holes, put my centerpiece in, cable. I am going to throw a little bit of concrete down on these big posts just because the gate's going to be on this, so I want it to kind of have a little bit more stability than just what's here in the ground. So let me get the other end, and then I'll come back and get the center post and the wire on here. So okay, so this is the south end. So what we got here is just our H, basically our H in this side. So I have a little bit of rebar hanging off of that side, and these are going to be used to attach the barbed wire. Here's my neighbor so you can see what we're doing. So you're basically using the base of your corner post to hold the top of your, this would be like your main fastener post. So that's where we're going to fasten the barbed wire and stretch it across, and you're going to use the base of the ground to hold it from being ripped out. Because if I would have used the top, it's just all going to lean. So if that makes sense. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to run a couple loops of barbed wire back and forth to the base, and then we'll crank it around kind of like that until it tightens up. The only difference is I'm going to fasten the tightening rod that I put in to keep from it just being like hanging out there crazy. So let me cut about 30 foot of barbed wire, and we'll run it back and forth, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is what we got. Cable all the way down here. I got some nails. That's all you need. And this right here is gonna hold it from being pulled back towards us. So I'm using the tension of this wanting to the tension of this, it's wanting to go. So I'll put a nail right here to hold that, and that holds this in place, and this is tight. It's the first one I've ever done, but it is a little sketchy when you go to bind it up, but yeah. So that's all we need. Some people do an X, but you got to remember this is basically holding that one from shooting out to the left. So it's got some side to side play, but there's 0 forward to back, or however you want to look at it, side to side, forward to back, side to side. But when we hook the barbed wire to it, we'll be fastening to this one right here and pulling it with a come along all the way down that way. So that's one end done. Got to do one more. Okay, so stretching the barbed wire out. This is the setup I got. Just a cable clamp looped around, come along around the tree. Normally you would just come along around this post right here, but I got the tree, so I didn't feel like going around it. So once you do this, like, it'll feel snug, but you'll just have to come over and like keep like checking your tension on your barbed wire. Once you feel it get really tight, let me show you. Like it'll feel heavy, if that makes sense. I guess there's a way you could like overstretch your barbed wire, but like it's hard to see. But it's not like it'll sag. But when you go to like pull on it, like it just feels heavy. So once you get that, then you can come along and pull it up. Nail it. I'm gonna run a top string from this end to that end, and then I'll just follow that, and then the from this end to the other end, once I get the string up and straight, then I will attach the barbed wire where it's at, and then the next 3 runs I run after that will be measured off of the top line. We have a lot of like ups and downs here, so we're just gonna run off the top line. Really don't care about the base gap, because this is just like a boundary thing. It's not, I'm not trying to keep any animals in or out right now. So it's starting to rain a little bit, so let me get this string untangled from the barbed wire and try to get this one run up and going. I'll check back once it's done. Well, here's the end of week 12. Got all of our posts up. I still need to go along and even these tops out so it doesn't look all crazy. But I was able to get 2 runs, and these guys are tight. So straight. What I did was certain sections where it was like the string line that I ran looked real low. I just got a tape measure out and cheated it up, and then I just went basically the width of my hammer and just went all the way down so that the next line just matches and stuff. So this is the back of the property. So next week I'll do one more run. The barbed wire was, I think, 7 gauge or something like that. $70 for what was it, like 1,300 feet. So I still have enough for one more run. It's just getting late here today, and then probably actually have enough to do one run towards that end once, you know, I finish getting that part of the property cleared up and ready to go. But pretty straight. There's a couple leaning out, but on the line it's straight. So very happy with today. So week 13, we'll finish this up, and hopefully the weather will hold up and get back to clearing more brush out. So I'll check in next week, guys. See ya. Alright guys, week 13. Kind of slept in a little, so got one more run to do on the bottom, and then I think I'm going to start on the other fence line down the other side. But I still got a massive amount of barbed wire that I have to roll out and come back and trim these tops so that it all kind of looks a little bit even. So let me get this last run in on the bottom, The hardest part's rolling the barbed wire all the way down there. But yeah, let me get started with that, and then check back in and try to level these tops out. This way it's not high, low, high, low. It's weird because I made sure everything was at least 30 inches whenever I put them down in there, so just different spots, I guess. I don't know, maybe I dug a little deeper. Might have got a lazy on 2 or 3, but yeah. I'll check back in. Alright, so I got my third one rolled out, which for some reason, with less on there, was so much more harder. Barbed wire kept getting caught on like the wheel that they come with pre. So basically what I'm doing is I'm walking down and I'm making sure there's no branches or anything holding it before I start nailing it down. And I'll put some more tension on it. With it being the bottom one, it's really hard to tell if I have a lot of tension or not, because the top one didn't quite touch the ground. It was like drooping. But this is obviously gonna be setting on the ground, so gonna check the fence line, make sure it's not hung up on any branches or anything, because this area right here has a lot of branches. Let me see here. This is the stuff I'm worried about. And right here. Alright, looks like I could throw some nails in it. I'll have to go down there and probably do a couple more ratchets on it and nail it up, and that'll be my third line. So we left this gap right here. If we ever get any livestock, we can take and add another row. Probably not this thick stuff. It'll probably be stuff like this, a little bit thinner, so you can see the difference in size just in between each row. And then we won't have to worry about anything slipping in between. So I'm going to get this last row hung up and then trim these tops, and we'll see what the finished product looks like for the back row. Alright, so this is finished product. Cut them all as close as possible to about 3 inches above the last row. So you see a couple of them are a little bit higher, but also remember the ground goes up and down, so yeah, actually looks really good. So one fence line complete. Now to go from this corner right here pretty much straight to the right, so like straight that way. So I'm gonna have to cut a couple of those trees down depending on where they land. So I'm gonna run a string and start with that. But I also only bought limited resources out here to finish the fence today. Completed it. Took a couple hours. My back's killing me. Spent the whole day at SeaWorld for my daughter's birthday, so I don't know if I'm going to get a lot done today. I got to clear a spot out to drop our Mercedes that we impounded, so might work on that. And depending on my hunger, will depend on if I do any more work today. So this might wrap it up for week 13, but might check back in. See ya.